All right, everybody. Let me just make sure. All right, let me just make sure the volume is working well. Anyway, it is 20 minutes with Bridgette. I think today is June 2nd, 2020. And let's get into it. So today we're finally finishing all the chakras. I know it's been kind of like long and epic. And so then I can like start doing a library, some other stuff, right? Which will be great. Okay. Let's go to the blog. All right. Where is it? Where is it? It might be here somewhere. Okay, let me see what I've got going on over here. Oh, there it is. Okay. There it is. Oh, yes. Okay. Kind of wanted to put something out there. Just because you might feel, like euphoria and bliss and kind of connected to everything. That would be like a hormone function, like a chemical function. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's from the crown chakra. Okay? Anyway, crown chakra, put all this up on Patreon. Crown chakra symbol. And I have quite a bit of stuff on here, so let's go ahead and go through the blog first, and then I'll add what I need to add as we go along. So in this meeting point between the finite, the body, and the ego, and the infinite, the cosmos, the universal, and the soul, I kind of feel like, the cosmos is the same as the soul, right? It's the energy field. So anyway, it is the place where time and timelessness intersect, where death and external life meet. Maybe. 1,000-petal chakra embraces an attitude of gratitude for one's life. If you're operating in the positive, can be. That's kind of more of a heart chakra thing, but we're just, this is something I just pulled off of a website, and there's a link if you want to look more into it. When we realize that everything is interconnected, yes, that's true, and that we are part of a larger scheme of life, energy, we begin to live it with gratitude, faith, and trust rather than filled with fear and anxiety. So what leads to gratitude, faith, and trust? Thinking, knowing through thinking, and making the right choices, navigating and driving your bus, not just giving up your bus to energy or beings or anything else, right? So how you're going to make it, how you're going to trust is when you trust yourself to make the right decisions that are in alignment with the cosmos or God or the creator, right? So that it's pretty important not to just let yourself go without a intention, let yourself drift off into the abyss, because in all places and spaces there is light and there's dark, and you can get easily hijacked. So when you're using your intellect, because guess what? The crown chakra is what? On your brain. Right? All right. Now that we've got that figured out. And so we have to be careful about what Steiner said, not going into the lower animal and daydreaming, picture consciousness, right? Allowing whatever, to cross our mind and whatever else, and see with our inner eye that, we have to use our intellect to guide it by thinking and making the proper choices and decisions. All right. Till we trust ourselves, we can't trust anything else. We will always be disappointed. All right. And also, let me add that in. Once we trust ourselves, and we're working with ourselves, and we're making the right decisions, then that gets us out of fear and anxiety, and we can actually work more with the infinite, right? Because if, you know, we're working within operating two hemispheres of the brain, which are like two different personalities, we'll call the right brain our God self, the left brain more reptilian, but actually helps us in this world because it has a lot of details. It can be detail oriented, survival, you know, a lot of these things that are super important. And so when we start bringing these two lobes together and they're unified because we're thinking, then can the crown chakra really start to be optimal, right? And can move into a better application. Okay, when we're guided by higher power, you know, when we're guided by our own inner trust that we've developed with ourself first, and we feel divinity from within because we are divinity when we're unified with all of our 2D parts, two lobes, female, male, left side, right side, lower chakra system, upper chakra system. You know, we have to unify all those. And I really think moving through this fifth epoch, like Steiner talks about, we're moving into critical thinking, which is really going to help to unify this stuff, right? Out of the lower animal consciousness and the mirror. You know, a lot of us are still operating in the mirror reflection consciousness, which is the mineral kingdom. So, and it's our job to evolve, right? Because it's going to help all the other consciousness evolve. The challenge of the chakra is to liberate the spirit, open the divine, and at the same time, firmly rooted deep in the ground. So the challenge of this chakra is to unify ourselves, to think, make better choices for ourselves, be aware, be fully conscious, and be a unified field of spirit and body operating simultaneously without having to shift into either one, right? Downshift, upshift, whatever you want to call it. And you know, the thing is you are on the ground. So rooted on the ground just really doesn't really make sense. You're not really floating off the ground, are you? And your body connects you to the planet. Okay, so here's the crown chakra stuff at a glance, blah, 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 where you're at with it. I put, you know, the first 20 minutes with Bridgette on the first chakra. You should go back and listen to that on the root chakra, because I talk about how the, you know, stationary chakra system works. And then this is kind of about why, you know, chakra systems blow and they don't work, and what the chakra system works with. So I just kind of want to put some stuff out there that I kind of believe more and operate with, right? So I did a little thing here. The power of the crown chakra is from the unspoken relationship to all things, yourself, the world around you, the cosmos, what you can see, what you can't see. Native people use songs, drums, rattles. They use a rattle to call in whoever they need to talk to. Ring-a-ding-a-ding, ring-a-ding-a-ding. Hey, I'm calling. I'm making a phone call, right? Drums, you know, submit a frequency that open up, you know, energy fields, and also because of the beings that know the certain drum points and the songs, those beings immediately wake up, pay attention, and then you're starting to connect. So they know what's going on. It could be, you know, trees, plants, cosmic, like I said, the seen and the unseen. So you're dealing with a totally different kind of frequency and understanding. So this is, you know, what we're dealing with in the crown chakra. So it doesn't really have a language or vocabulary. So it's a very difficult thing to navigate and stay conscious and thinking, right? This is why a lot of older shamans and their heritages that they would only pick people who had some academia training because they could critically think, to teach and develop, because they found that, you know, people who didn't even start to be able to begin to think couldn't deal with the unseen. Because, you know, when you're moving into some of those dimensions and some of those other unseen areas and things start to happen, you need critical thinking, because you can't just lay yourself out there, to be piggybacked, to be possessed, to have, you know, these kinds of experiences, you know, as a full trust of the spirit. You've got to actually, you know, critically think as you're coming along up to these beings and being like, yeah, do I really want to get to know you? Do I really, you know, want you to manipulate and control me? And having conversations with these beings to figure out where they're at and not get wrapped into it, because not all things, um, you know, may be beneficial for you. And you're the only one that knows that, right? Physician, heal thyself. You're the only one who knows and understands that. That's why you have to evolve, and you have to think, and you have to learn how to critically think, because you're going to have to get yourself out of situations that you got yourself in haphazardly, right? I get this from a lot of people who have taken things like Aya, ceremonial, you know, non-ceremonial, you know, street Aya, um, you know, DMT and all this other stuff. And then you have people who are addicted to it because they want to be in those energy spaces, because they're in lower animal consciousness and they want those pictures and they want to be in that dreaming scenario, because it's, you know, can be more comfortable than actually being human and actually using your noggin, right? All right. So some of these people that do a lot of this non-ceremonial, and, you know, my teachers have always wanted me to do this sober, not to have any crutches. So I've done some ceremonial dreaming medicines, but I'd much rather do it sober. So kind of a longer, more arduous process. But remember, if I go into those dreaming worlds, I can't go back in without the usage of those drugs. So what would be the point of that for the long term? And I won't take those medicines without my teacher and my steward and the person who's going to protect me and make sure that I come back, right? And most of me comes back, right? So that I can actually function, and no other things actually come back with me, right? That they stay in their world, I come back to my world, we're good, blah, 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 blah. No, the cat's talking again. Okay, anyway. All right, so natives use songs, rattles to ring the nations above, around, and below. The feelings we generate can also be a part of unspoken. Without words, that brings us push away, destroy, transmit, receive out of the crown chakra. When we're not connected, or the heart bridge is not open and all the body chakras are not aligned, the crown chakra will transmit the chaos in us into the cosmos around us and below us, right? So crown chakra is a cosmic transmitter, and it's a receiver, like an acupuncture needle or antenna, right? So, you know, if we're in turmoil and it's just going to haphazardly send out images and whatever else of our chaos and turmoil. This is, you know, the law of attraction in this world. That's why you got to really get control of it and manage it properly. The crown chakra is where we would tap, tape, sorry, there's an edit problem, into such things. Are the Akashic records, the great computer in the sky creator, cosmic data, the stream of all things, and more. I found out that I'm more like Black Elk, to where I plug into a stream of information and data that's past, present, and future. I've always been able to navigate this system, thank God, even though all the chaos and, you know, stuff that goes on in my life. And, you know, pick points of information that I can download and, you know, help people with, or myself, you know, understand or navigate. But it's taken me a lot of actual work in my life to not filter that information, also not imprint it, that information, not reflect upon it in, lower mineral kingdom, and then also not, you know, dream it or, create pictures, but to allow that information to be fully what it is and being a real vessel for that information to flow. Um, let's see. You need to fully connect within to be fully connected without, which means that you may think you are connecting to the past, present, and future data streams, but you are not. Be careful of people who may go to that, who would provide you such information as well. People, and this is the bottom line, and I actually learned this from a South American shaman who started to realize, like, a lot of the people that were coming for these trainings were hallucinating. And a lot of them were hallucinating for different kinds of reasons. I mean, he had to actually bring in medical doctors and psychologists and different kinds of people to figure out, because what he was opening up and what they should be seeing wasn't what they were seeing, and that it took him a while to even figure out that they were hallucinating. So people can see things, of course, but there can be a lot of disturbances. That, for example, nutritional deficiencies can cause major hallucinations, especially iodine deficiency in the thyroid. And also you can have super hormone imbalances that will cause hallucinations that, are not really there. So you could think that you're tapped into and you're picking up images and blah, 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 and you're not, you're actually hallucinating because your systems are not unified and your physical body is creating its whole other reality. And you have to make sure that, you get that all straight and clear. Beware of channelers as well. It takes an enormous amount of work to be connected to the right and good things in the right and good way. And then that's in for that. So I put an old video here that I did, why you should not listen to channeled bullshit, crap, lies. This happened when I was 23. I'm going to be 52 this year. When I was studying with a Lakota Sioux medicine woman, that also she was of the Black Elk family lineage. So I studied with her and trained with her for a year, doing, what mainstream would call energetic medicine arts. And yeah, learned a lot from her. It's taken me like all these years, 20 years, 30 years later, to actually put it all into practice. Then there's some other stuff that is kind of interesting that came off a really great article that I'd like to put here. Juan Matus told Carlo Castaneda that Gennaro was just now embracing the enormous earth, but the earth knows that Gennaro loves it. The earth, this world, for a warrior, there can be no greater love. This feeling, this loving being, which is alive to the last recesses and understanding every feeling. So, Gennaro he could fly in his physical body. There were photos actually taken of this guy during this time frame before him and Castaneda and some of these guys left this world. So he could actually fly in midair, like hover, kind of a thing. So that tells you kind of the enormous kind of work that it takes to really get the crown chakra functioning so that you're transmitting and receiving properly without actually hallucinating, right? So if you say you go out of your body and you're taking some of these dreaming medicines, it's not really helping your crown chakra, because whatever you come back with, if you're still in chaos because you can't figure it out, because that's why you go take the dreaming medicines, so you can think you can figure it out. It's not really helping your energy systems. So all right, then this is a really good thing I really liked. We're gonna have barking. Hold on one second. Let me call the dog back. Hey, come on, Jen, come on in here. Come on, cutie. All right, hopefully she comes in. Lots of craziness today, huh? I guess the spirit world is like, kind of the dark forces are having some serious trouble with me actually talking about this information. Many years ago, the Great Spirit gave the Shawnee, Fox, and other people maize of corn or corn. The gift arrived when a beautiful woman arrived from the sky. She was fed by the two hunters, and in return, she gave them, after 1 year, maize, beans, and tobacco. We thank the Great Spirit for all these benefits he has conferred upon us. For myself, I need to take a drink of water from a spring without being mindful of his goodness. I can never take a drink. So, you know, when we're connected, the spirit world or the cosmos is going to connect us to the things that we need in order to evolve, right? But we have to do the work first. And then, so yeah, so that's why we keep things sacred. Okay, at the center of all the creation is the great mystery, as Black Elk said. This is one of my favorite beings because of the type of work that I can do and have been able to do. I connect easily with his work. And I think because I've been kind of trained by people from his lineage, that it has helped to develop me. When we use the water in the sweat lodge, we should think of Wonkin Tonkin, who is always flowing, giving his power and his life to everything. The round fireplace at the center of the sweat lodge is the center of the universe, in which dwells Wonkin Tonkin in his power, which is the fire. All these things that Wonkin holy and mystery must be understood deeply if we wish to purify ourselves, for the power of a thing or an act is in the meaning and the understanding, right? So it takes a lot of work, a lot of connecting work to be able to connect to developing and harnessing these pathways of power, and that they're in us and around us. All right, and then there's a link there. It's a pretty good, it's got a lot of really good stuff in it. And then we have this part, and then that, and that's the end. All right, so let me get out of here and let's talk about a practice. Right. So I know that some people live in places it's going to be really difficult to actually do a full-blown fat fire and a spirit fire. So you can do a candle, maybe a skinny candle that has a good flame on it, or a little bowl, and you can put a fire in there, and then keep feeding it with little twigs, do a personal medicine fire. So the practice is to work with fire and, hold thoughts, keeping your eyes open, but holding thoughts and your attention and paying attention to the flame, right? Make sure that you, give the, put some tobacco. So you can put some tobacco or on a plate, so put your candle, you can like drop the wax and seal it onto a plate. Then put some tobacco offering in there, or you could put a few drops of water, blessing, or, some flowers, like do like a really nice offering before you light it, before you work with it. If you're working with a bowl or a pot, make sure like it doesn't have any Teflon or any crap in it. Make sure it's like stainless steel. Make sure it's on like a hot pad. And you could put little twigs in there, wood, different kind of sacred woods, dried medicine plants, some sage, whatever you need. And you can actually throw your sage and your tobacco offerings, thank you, gratitude in there. You could throw some flowers, dried flowers, in there. Make sure you give lots of offerings before and after. If you're doing a big fire, make sure those prayers, if you're putting paper down there to start it, all those, every time you rip some paper, it has a prayer. I always just say thank you. I stay away from, getting long and drawn out with, all of this controlling and manipulating language of like, I really want to know this, and will I have this, and what can I do about this? I really just stay out, and it's always thank you, thank you, thank you, front and end, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? Because the cosmos or the spirit world knows way more than I could ever know. So I need to leave myself open to whatever the teaching is going to be, right? And whatever the response is going to be. I start controlling it and it's going to suck. It's gonna suck butt. All right, and then I'll be more confused than ever. That's happened to me. I've made it overly complicated and I've been way more confused than I was to start off with. Okay, so basically you're gonna light your fire, you got your offering, whatever kind of fire you're gonna work with. You light your fire, make sure it's quiet. You don't wanna be really around wind or air currents because you need to be able to make sure that your flame is communicating to you, you know. Grandfather fire, he is represented in the sun and the fire, and he is the being who dwells within the fire element, and he is our teacher and our grandfather and our elder, and he loves to come to us and teach us, you know, about transmutation and change, and you know, it's unbelievable what can happen. I think I'll put, if I get a chance, I'll put a picture on a blog from a ceremony that I did with teaching people about fire medicine, and the photographer that was there taking pictures. And at one point I was like totally consumed with the field of energy. And I became a looking, you know, on photo of like a fire, which was totally a trip because I was, you know, I was fully in it. Anyway, so what you're going to do is after you give your offering, you know, thank grandfather fire for, you know, helping you and in a good way, you know, to teach you things and to help you connect with things. And then, so this is like crown chakra, right? What am I transmitting and what am I receiving, kind of a thing. So you start off with just, you know, asking the grandfather to show you through the flame, what does it look like that I'm transmitting outside of myself into the outside world? And then take a look at the flame. And maybe you'll get an image. Maybe the flame will go all kind of crazy, you know. Maybe it won't do anything and you know you're not transmitting anything, right? And then you can say, you know, like, what am I receiving? And then, you know, if the flame shortens or, you know, you have to decide, you'll know, trust yourself, to know that you're going to know what it means, right? And then you can ask different questions, you know, am I, you know, like if you're having a problem in your life, you can go to the flame and say, you know, I need help in a good way. Always say a good way, because it'll come to you in a bad way. You know, lessons can come good and they can come bad. So you always ask for the good way. And then you can go there and you can actually work with the stuff and you can try to figure out, you know, have a working relationship to grandfather fire and fire medicine, and that will help you to develop your crown chakra, right? So figuring out what you're transmitting, what you're sending, and you know, please stay out of groveling and manipulating and trying to control the outcome of your life. You know, ask for simple answers, truthful things, not how do I buy a house, you know, how do I fill out the loan documents? What shoes should I buy? Should I date this person? Should I get married to this person? You know, let's kind of not go there, but let's make this a development of developing our inner self, easing the chaos so that we're not transmitting that into the outside world. And then that is what we're attracting back to ourselves. Okay. And develop our thinking. Because when we're starting to ask the grandfather fire different questions and we're getting different answers and we have to kind of think about it, this also develops both sides of our hemisphere, right? Because the flame and the spirit is dealing with the symbology of the right hemisphere. The left and the right hemisphere. And then the left hemisphere is dealing with the questions, trying to figure out what the answers are, and the, you know, technical part of it, you know, that's more kind of on the human frame. And so this actually helps develop whole brain thinking, which helps to open up and, you know, create a really good working crown chakra. Also, you know, it helps to develop the third eye and the seventh eye. And also, you know, our will third chakra and divine will, throat chakra, and also helps to develop, more telepathic abilities. But it has a lot to do with you, right? And figuring out and you thinking and using your whole brain and using it all. So anyway, that's what I've got for you today. So anyway, I hope that helps, and wishing you the best. We'll see you on Thursday. Oops, let me get out of here. Oop. And I hope, let me get out of screen. Oh, I'm already out of screen share, so we're good. All right, and then we'll see you on Thursday, and I have no idea, but we're going to be working on some other journeying, and hopefully in the future we'll be working with different kinds of nutrition and thoughts and spirituality and, all kinds of different things. So anyway, we'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Over now.